Hello and welcome to Case Study 2, Volkswagen of America. We are group number 4, and in our group we have Nadia, Siraj, Asala, and myself, Matthew. First, let's start off with the important facts. We went through the case and we identified some of the things that we thought were pretty important. A few of the ones I want to point out here is that the Volkswagen of America proposed more than 40 IT projects for 2004. Of these 40 projects, they came out to be $100 or $210 million to properly fund all these, but their budget was only $60 million. When they went through it and cut out as many projects as they could, they were able to cut it down to about $170 million, and that was happening during the project selection process. Also, they had a global supply chain management objectives process, and that was currently underway. It wasn't finished, but they had at least partially funded it up to this point. The CIO is a guy named Maltovic, and he does not have any background experience in IT. Continuing on with the important facts, the Maltovic, their CIO, he was actually the leader of a process development for the parent group of Volkswagen Group, who he's been with the company for quite a while. He created the Business Process Technology and Organization Group there at Volkswagen of America, and we found out that he doesn't really think the big issues are related to technology, but it's rather related to the IT governance. Volkswagen of America's sales peaked in the 1960s, but ever since there it's been up and down, and they've had some decent years where they released new models and they were able to get a lot more sales, but then after that they would kind of sell into this slump where they didn't do very well. In order to fix this, the Volkswagen Group, they plan on introducing a bunch of new models and consolidating them. They're going from 9 models currently up to 22 models by 2008.
Hello, this is Nadia, and I'll be talking about key issue number 1. Should the companies consider an unfunded global supply chain project a strategic failure? Our alternative, the current IT governance is not working and need to be changed. Or alternative number 2, a new IT strategy should be developed. The alternative to the current IT governance is not working. The pros. Number 1, the current governance has the BPTO acting as firefighter role. A new governance can have a proactive role dealing with problematic portfolio problem. A new governance will allow the business to keep pace with the global business strategy. And the cons, they already attempted to change it 3 times in the past and it did not work. Why would it work now? They can be sure that the 4th attempt would be successful. Who knows? There is difficult internal culture resistance to change, and the current single IT governance is already established and operating, but it's not helping with the global supply chain project. Alternative number 2, a new strategy should be developed. Pros, a new strategy will create an architecture blueprint that aligns the IT infrastructure and the global business goals. It will facilitate cultural change, which will be worked out from the bottom up, and it will be built on economic and procedural incentives. It will allow more focus on important operational objectives such as security and change in government regulation. And the cons, high initial capital expenditures will require, and also the substantial time will require to plan ahead. Previous IT outsourcing practices left the void of human IT capital and big concerns for security, and of course the culture was rooted in scarcity and not incentivized to change. Our recommended course of action, a new IT strategy should be developed. The recommendation is based on developing a new enterprise-wide architecture blueprint, which will allow a company to align business plans, global plans for expansion with the IT infrastructure, which will be developed as a long-range project and funded from the top. Thank you.
Alright, now we're going to talk about the second key issue. Is the CIO qualified for his job? We came with 2 alternatives. Either we're going to get him out of there by firing him or moving him to a different spot in the company, or keep him in his current position. First alternative is to get him out of the current position by firing him or relocating him. We came up with some pros and cons, and the biggest pro we had for this is that we can hire somebody in who has IT experience and a better understanding of the IT industry. However, our biggest con was that he has experience and relations with the parent company because he's been with them for so long. And the second alternative we had was to keep Multivic in his current position as the CIO. The good thing about this is that he's already shown he's able to get things done. The projects are now getting done on time and on budget. A problem with it, though, is that he needs experience in the IT field, and that the whole project selection process caused a lot of tension within the people in the business units.
Our recommended course of action is get him out of the current CEO from his position and position him where he can use his skills as in operations and tactical skills, but allow for different CIO to come into the organization who would be a champion for IT, IS issues with the CEO and other C-level executives. So the current CEO only did half his work. He did great work in operations, but he did not champion to the CEO and the business units, and therefore he should be dealing with operations where his strengths are, and another CIO needs to be hired. Thank you.
The last key issue we had is there's not enough money to fund critical business projects as well as support the global supply chain project. The alternatives we came up with is we can decrease the IT expenses through outsourcing and web services. We can cut funding from other projects like branding and marketing to help fund these projects, or we can stay behind the current project selection process. First alternative is to decrease IT expenses through outsourcing and web services. The good thing about this is, hey, we can now supply or fund the global supply chain project, but the problem is that we could meet some cultural resistance, and also there are also security risks inherent with outsourcing our work. The second alternative is to cut funding from other projects like branding and marketing more to fund the IS projects. The good thing is that we could fund the business unit's most important projects, and we could fund the global supply project. The only problem is that every project, there's no guarantee that every project will get funded, and they may still complain about the fact that their projects don't get funded. The last alternative we had is to stand behind the project selection process as it stands. The good thing is it's already done, and we don't have to go through this all again, and we can then review it next year. But the problem is these people are still unhappy, and we left several important projects unfunded. Our recommended course of action is to cut funding from other projects like in marketing to help fund the IS projects. The reason for this is that we really need this global supply chain project funded. If you remember from the book, it talked about the whole Kmart and Walmart thing. And Kmart pushed selling their products right away, but they didn't have the supply chain behind it yet, and so they failed. The same goes for Volkswagen of America. If they push to get these models out there and push to get these models sold, that's great, but if they don't have the supply chain in the background to help fund it or to help get these products there, then it's not going to do them a whole lot of good.